Welcome to Cricket Buffet. I'm Dan.
And I'm John, and this is our story. So my first experience with this game was when my family and I relocated back to India from Kuwait. I saw everybody all over the place being fascinated by this bat and ball game. You guessed it was cricket. And I had no idea what this game was about, but everywhere I went, I saw kids playing it, adults talking about it or watching it, and I got really curious as to what this game was about. And the first match I watched was the famous tie test between India and Australia, and just that entire match, the way Dean Jones battled the elements and his physical demons and scored that epic 210, and India fighting back, almost pulling it off, only for Greg Mathieson to come and steal a tie for his team. I was fascinated, and from that moment on, I too was hooked.
Yeah, I go back to Greg Chappell's last innings, actually it was, against Pakistan in 83-84. That's really my first memory of watching cricket. But the summer after, when greats like Viv Richards and Clive Lloyd and Malcolm Marshall and the Big Bird came to Australia, just watching the summer of West Indies play against a battling Australian team, but that was fascinating, and started watching cricket then and been watching since. Yeah, just when I started watching Shane Warne bowl a lot and all his little different variations, I started to see, without the commentator needing to say what it was, whether he was dropping his thumb for the flipper or bowling these other little variations. So I started to think that I could maybe see a little bit more than meets the eye.
Well, the first time I realized was when in '92 the Cricket World Cup was going on, and as it was, and it is always when the World Cup is on, you're trying to predict who's going to win the game. And in the classroom, all the boys were humming together and placing their bets and saying who's going to win. Our physics professor walked in and said, "Okay, you guys are discussing the World Cup," and for some reason he pulled me up and said, "So John, who are you betting is going to win the World Cup?" And I said Pakistan. And there was a huge roar in the class. Everybody was laughing. Reason being, Pakistan were almost out of the World Cup. Yet I thought they would win it simply because they had a match against England where they were bowled out for 75 runs, and there was no way they were going to win that game. But rain intervened, and from a match they should have lost, they ended up splitting the points. And that one solitary point was a reason that they moved on to the next stage. So my physics professor himself was stunned when I said that, and he said, "All right, John," in front of the entire class, "if Pakistan win the World Cup, I will give you 10 rupees as a bet." So I had a bet with my physics professor. And so once the World Cup was over, the following day before class started, my physics professor walked into the class, pulled out his wallet, took out 10 rupees and handed it to me and said, "Well done." That's when I knew that I had a very unique way of seeing the game. So we noticed as fans when our team or our player was failing, there was a lot of negativity that was creeping up into us, negative emotions, and we thought, hey, there was a better way of viewing the game where we could criticize the shot and not the player. We just thought that, hey, if we were feeling this way, there might be a lot of cricket fans around the world who are also reacting in the same manner. We just thought there might be a better way of viewing the game and analysing it.
Yeah, we also spent time discussing cricket as we do, and we noticed that we're coming up with points like with Pattinson joining a quartet of Australian bowlers that were being mentioned before mainstream media had got it, and noticing different changes in Steve Smith's technique and things like that. So we just wanted to bring that to the table as well to the fans.
And finally, we saw that there was a void in the entire cricket viewing experience for the fans. We were always listening to the experts and their opinions, but we realized that the fans were not being heard. And being part of several cricket communities, we saw that there were a lot of knowledgeable fans out there who were raising very valid and very good points. And we thought that, hey, these fans needed to be heard. Their voice needed to be heard. So these are the reasons why we started Cricket Buffet.
That's our story. Thanks for watching.
We hope you join us on this journey as we look to usher in a new era for you, cricket fan.